Board of Commissioners, Facilities, Capital and Strategic Planning Committee meeting to order. Our first order of business is to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Next on the agenda is to approve the agenda for today's meeting as presented, or are there any modifications, amendments before we actually do that?
I'll make the motion.
So you make the motion to approve the agenda as presented, Commissioner LaHaye?
I'll support.
And I have a support from Commissioner Fournier. Any discussion about it? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion is carried and the agenda is approved for today's meeting. First on our agenda is our Home Improvement Director. Nikki, please.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am here pursuant to our program guidelines, asking for approval to move forward on a project for some homeowners here in Alpena to actually put an addition on their home due to an overcrowding situation. I think I've done a pretty thorough memo here. I can kind of recap it. This is a problem in the world of housing that we are expected to address, just as if we were expected to respond to a leaking roof and somebody without heat. As a matter of fact, in the housing world, overcrowding is considered a pretty serious problem, and they consider it when categorized as severely overcrowded, which this family does fall in, that it's the equivalent of being homeless. Having such a large family in such a small house. And so when I applied for our grant dollars through rural development, through the housing preservation grant program, we were required to put a statement in our grant application that we would address alleviating overcrowding if we were presented with that situation. So I have a homeowner that has a family of 8, husband and wife, and 6 young children, and in a very tiny 3-bedroom home. So we have done all the legwork within the program, both myself and our inspector, Mr. Kalashewski. I've obviously checked all the boxes and dotted all the I's and T's that they meet the guidelines of, or meet the eligibility requirements based on income, assets, ownership, current taxes, homeowners insurance, current on their current mortgage on their home. And then Mr. Kalashewski and I have been working quite closely, getting out to the home with the homeowners and assessing the potential of putting an addition on their home. And so I strongly depend on Mr. Kalashewski to be my professional to guide in these kind of situations. He was extra beneficial in this case because this is over my head and outside of my wheelhouse. But we have a really great plan to put in place for this family, and I have the funding to do it. And this is the final piece to allow this to happen. This will be assistance in the form of a loan, not a grant. We will be a second mortgage on this home, but this family there is enough equity in the home to support their current mortgage, which they make regular payments on and are current on, and to protect our second lien as well.
Where's the house located?
The house is on Oldfield Street.
Okay.
It says that homeowners will qualify for a 0% deferred loan. Deferred until when?
Deferred until those homeowners no longer own and occupy that home.
Okay.
So it could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
They make no payments, obviously.
Correct.
Payments are deferred until the home is sold or changed hands.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. They have the right, and we welcome if they want to make payments on that debt throughout the years. They're always encouraged and allowed to do so. We just don't come knocking on their doors requiring that. So, and that's, our guidelines are set up to do all of our loans as 0% deferred mortgages.
What is the balance on their current mortgage?
I think I touched on that in my
47.5.
Oh, okay.
47,500.
So Oh, I see.
So they're under, even with the loan, they're under the,
Under the SEV, yeah.
Yeah.
under
Correct.
yeah.
Fair market value.
And it's just gonna build the market value up too when. but they-
Exactly. We're talking about 3 bedrooms and a bathroom, just a modest 600-foot addition or 600 square foot addition. But it will significantly increase the value of their home.
So this isn't going to be a DIY project and so they'll actually hire a contractor to do it?
Correct. So Mr. Kalashewski and he actually gives me the baseline for the specifications.
Okay.
We have drawn it out a little unprofessionally, and we have factored in the cost to have a professional do the drawings. And then it's the responsibility of the home improvement program to solicit cost estimates, at least 2. We like to get 3 or more, but at least 2 to take on the project. So we do that from our end. We work with contractors, we get the cost estimates, and then once we have a qualifying cost estimate, we then create a contract between the homeowner and that contractor. And then our dollars get paid directly to the contractor.
It doesn't go through the family?
Correct. And the contractor has to include all the necessary permits. All of that is part of their estimate to do it start to finish. The homeowners, as a matter of fact, when we have them sign the contract paperwork, we specifically say you are not allowed to help.
Okay.
This is like that last one you brought to us last month. No payments, no interest.
That's what our guidelines are. We don't do anything different within the home improvement program.
Okay.
So how are you making any money? I mean, you keep saying we're making money, but how are you making money if
That
nobody?
is future dollars into the program.
Yeah, but that 30, 40 years down the road, maybe.
Yeah, but
Doesn't cost
You know-
money because it's grant money.
it's all grant dollars. It's not making money. It's just having dollars to spend in the community. And the dollars we're spending right now are payoffs that we've gotten from mortgages that have happened 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's a constant collection of dollars.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve that.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion from Commissioner Peterson that we approve the home loan project EM 22-25 with an estimated cost of $29,500 for an addition to the home due to crowding as presented. And Ms. Yanis indicates that the homeowner meets all eligibility requirements to receive assistance, and that's been supported by Commissioner LaHaye. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
No.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is our maintenance superintendent, Mr. Wilder, sir.
Lisa was, do with caretaker's house.
Yes, an update on the home repairs at the caretaker's house.
Well, we've been on the roof, couldn't find any reason to need to replace it. We did patch a few little cracks around the chimney. I don't think it was anything that was leaking, but nonetheless, there was cracks there. The window, we face 11th Avenue, we've ordered a replacement. We've opened that wall up. There was one stud that was right next to the window that was rotted on the bottom. We cut that out, replaced some stuff, replaced insulation. Hung new drywall. We just got to finish the drywall. When the window comes in, we'll get that replaced, the trim put back up. There was also a cracked pane on the window facing the merchants building. So we've taken that to Alpena Glass. They've measured, did what they need to do. They've ordered a new piece of glass for it. When it comes in, they'll put it in. We'll put the window, the piece of, it's a moving part of the window is what it is. You can open and close it. Put that back in. That'll take care of that. The flooring I have not gotten into yet. Oh, handrails, we need handrails. And they're metal handrails right now that are fastened to the porch. We can put 4x4s in on the outside, build railings on it. I mean, we're probably talking $300-400. Right now, as it stands, the window, the repairs that we did to the one window that was leaking, we're into that for about $440 right now. I guess the other thing to that is I don't know where that money is gonna come from. We do have money in the building maintenance line item. That money was put in there to make upgrades, I guess you would call it, to the merchants building. We can use them funds to pay for it now. And talk about it again later, I guess, but so we're working on it, I guess, is where we're at with that.
Are you gonna be able to get it done before the snow flies, you think?
Yeah, the windows that's the reason I started with the windows, was that's the part that's gonna come into play.
Okay.
And the railings for the porch, I don't think it take more than a day or so to throw them together, get them put in, but we will continue to poke away at that one.
Okay.
So then on to the project status report. The accident damage to the restrooms, that building is completely painted inside and out with the exception of the floors. They're working on getting them taken care of today. Then we'll go ahead. That building hasn't had hot water in it in probably close to 20 years. So we did go ahead and put in electric water heater. It had Bradley wash fountains, so they're the floor mounted, half round deals, that we couldn't get parts for. They weren't working as they should. So we took those out. We're putting in just wall mounted sinks. And we're able to cover all the expense of this with the insurance money that we got for that project. The next 5 of them, the tower for 911, the old DHHS building, 7-Eleven, the hinge panels for the swine barn, courthouse parking lot maintenance, and the health department asphalt repairs are all complete. The hinge panels for the hog barn, we were not able to build the way we thought we could because of the ribs in the steel. So those are gonna stick out from the barn about 37 inches, which would create a problem with them having their wash racks for their hogs in there. So we poured the length of that piece of concrete 4 foot wider to make up for the space lost in those panels. That's done. We just got a little piece of fence put up on that, so that'll be done probably by the end of the day today also.
Wes, going back to the parking lot of the courthouse, there's still that one spot.
And I'm working with him on that.
Okay.
Get
I see.
back over there.
Yes,
Yeah,
it'll just get bigger.
the third parking spot over right up in the front row. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
on that one. The compressor at the health department's been replaced, but they did find, they thought it was a sight glass on the other compressor, just had a little oil leaking. I know they were over yesterday to take a look at it. I don't know for sure if they got it fixed or if they had to order a new sight glass or something, but they're working on that one. The power meters for the fairgrounds, I will be meeting with Omega Electric on those tomorrow. Sure, by the end of the day, we'll have a schedule as to when those are going in. When I talked to Ryan Fairchild on that one, he thought they would put them all in one day. He didn't think it was gonna be a big issue, so. Repairs of the 2012 board is complete. And we have an 8N tractor, got a broom. I actually have a picture of it on my phone if anybody want to see it, but we don't use it anymore. I would like to put that out for sale, take bids on it and get rid of it. Basically, all we do with it now is move it out of the barn for the fair and put it back in the barn when the fair's over with. We've been doing that for the last few years, so. And then we'll be putting up a partition wall at the airport to separate at the old terminal building. Separate what used to be the airline space from passenger boarding area. This got partly to do with the county doing the fueling, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That project is getting paid for with airport funds. And then we had some damaged concrete cracked in front of the merchant's building, a couple spots on the corners, of the center restrooms, the ones that we've been working on. And then the concrete board down at the hog barn, and all that concrete's been replaced and taken care of. Any questions?
Questions for Mr. Wilder?
If we're gonna sell the tractor, we would want a motion to allow us to list that tractor and solicit bids.
Okay, understand. So there's a recommendation by Mr. Wilder to bid out and sell the 8N tractor. I need a motion to approve that request.
Make the motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner LaHaye. Do I have support?
Support.
I have support from Commissioner Peterson. Does this require a roll call vote since we're selling rather than spending? All in favor of Mr. Wilder being able to sell the 8N tractor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion is carried. And please, sir, go ahead and sell that old 8N tractor.
Thank you.
Another tractor for you, Bert.
Yeah, there we go. I had an 8N that I gave up with the other.
I give up two of them.
Okay, next on our agenda is our county administrator with a couple of items.
Yes, so first one. I was just double checking, is the truck. So as Wes mentioned, there is an old red maintenance truck that now has been assigned to Patrick for the fairgrounds. You guys had approved repairs for that truck. The initial estimate on the repairs was about $2,600. You had approved those repairs and we made a budget adjustment to accomplish those repairs. Unfortunately, once they opened up the truck, there were more things that were wrong with it. So the final bill ended up being $3863.70. So essentially, we would need another $1,500 to accomplish those repairs. Right now, we have $2,500 available in vehicle maintenance. So I would need the balance.
The balance.
So the truck was not repaired then?
It was repaired. They had it opened up. My only option was to say, go ahead and do the repairs.
So one was, Wordis Auto and the other one is, was it
Northern Collision.
Oops, Northern Collision was the bid that we went with.
The arms and the wheel bearings were the extra costs on the truck, so that was quite a big expense.
So, let me get this straight. First bid was Wordis for $2,465, and we did go with that bid.
No, we did not. We actually got a lower bid from Northern Collision. So there was a bid from Northern Collision that came in around 2,200. So we went with Northern Collision. When Northern Collision opened up the truck and started working on it, they then found additional things that needed to be repaired on the truck. So the final bill is the one that you have in your packet, which is $3,800.
But the truck is
The
repaired.
truck is repaired. It is back in service.
I would say the repairs that were found after the truck was started, you wouldn't know until you tore it apart, that those, you would have had the same thing happen at Wordis. It still needed to be done either way.
So we're looking for a budget adjustment of approximately $1,398.
Yes, so if I could get, just because you never know,
Never know.
we have until the end of the year, 1,500. So we need to increase line 101-268-934-000 by $1,500.
Where are we getting that money?
That will just have to be an increase to the budget. There's not enough in another line that I could make an adjustment to accomplish those repairs. I wish there was. Because in a second, we're gonna have to talk about an increase to accomplish the repairs to the house. The good news is that Patrick has done an amazing job at the fairgrounds this summer. So we are at this point, he is up in revenue almost $17,000. And that's just based on through the end of last month. So he's got additional storage money that will be coming in. So I mean, overall, as a department, they're doing fine. Plenty to accomplish this.
Good job.
So I'm looking for a motion to approve a budget adjustment of approximately $1,500.
Make the motion.
Okay, and out of the line item, but we don't know exactly the source to transfer it into at this time.
No, it would just be, we're just increasing
Budget.
that line by $1,500.
I did not write the the budget line item down. However, Mary Catherine's got it. She verbalized it, so I don't think I have to repeat it. And I have a motion for Commissioner LaHaye to approve the $1,500 budget adjustment. Do I have support?
No support.
I have support from Commissioner Fournier. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson.
Yep.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco.
Yes. Motion is carried and we will make sure we pay our bill.
Yes, so then as Wes mentioned, with the repairs to the house, if we take that out of building maintenance, that's where you had put money to accomplish the repairs for the merchants building. So as Wes mentioned, we can either, pull that money out of there for now and make an adjustment in a month when we are into repairs for the merchants building, or we can go ahead and increase that line now by a couple $1,000s in order to accomplish the house repairs.
So the recommendation from our county administrator is to increase the line item for the building maintenance, approximately $2,000 at this time. And your recommendation is to do that now rather than to kick the can down the
I
road.
would say go ahead and do it now. We know the expenses are coming and that way we don't have to make an adjustment later. So that would be to increase line 101-268-932.000 by $2,000.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion to increase the line item that our county administrator mentioned in the amount of $2,000 to be able to finish the repairs on the fairground manager's residence.
No, make that motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Fournier. Do I have support?
I'll support
I have support from Commissioner LaHaye. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson.
Yep.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco.
Yes. Okay, motion is carried and the budget adjustment is approved. Next is materials management planning. I see Mr. Tucker is here.
And just in time, Nico has arrived for the discussion.
late.
That's,
Might be an emergency stop, Hillman, tire repair.
oh, well, I hope everything is okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're here in time to join the discussion on materials management planning.
So obviously we've been having lots of discussion because with the MRF, and then I went out and chatted with the folks out at the landfill. And so just trying to get a better sense of what the timelines are and then what NEMCOG might be prepared to assist us with.
So we're prepared to do whatever you need us to do. Whether that's just helping you get through this notice of intent process up front, if it's helping with plans, whatever you want, that grant funding can go beyond just writing your plan. $60,000 or $70,000 it can actually continue out beyond that 3-year period too, to actually implement any of those recommendations in there in terms of getting programs set up for your new MRF, like that. So anything and everything really is what we're willing to do.
So would NEMCOG be like, should we ask for a proposal for services based on what it is that we would want? I mean, like, what's the best way to move forward?
Yeah, so every county has kind of asked that, what it costs to do it, and it's gonna depend on what you want. Is it just helping you with the notice of intent? Is it just writing the plan? Is it working on, educational and promotional materials for the programs that you start to set up? It's gonna vary everywhere based on what we do. That's just gonna have to be this process, sit down and determine that. Gonna jump in and just do anything. These are your plans. We will do whatever is requested of us.
Have other counties requested NEMCOG to do the notice of intent and write the materials management plan at this time?
The only one that said, yes, they want us to do that is like Sheboygan.
Okay.
For sure. They've all said, yes, we want help and in the same spot, let's figure out how we're gonna do this, how many counties are gonna be involved. Outside of our planning region, there's possibly like to come in and we're going in, so.
Right.
Nico,
There's a lot of discussions that have to happen.
the state finalized that,
The notice of intent?
that wasn't supposed to be last month, right? Correct?
Well, it should have been September 25th, yeah.
Yeah,
Bylaws at 25 September.
We've never, state to be completely.
Bert and I sit on the MOA, so. I mean, I know Oscoda and Mount Morency are interested in joining. Because we're already partners in the landfill.
Yes.
So, I mean, that was the last discussion at the last board meeting we had there is, how are we gonna move forward with this?
Right, and
And everything,
it should be any time now that notice of intent comes out. From there, you have 180 days to respond to it, to file that notice of intent. There's several steps within that. You're gonna want to pass that resolution stating that you want to be that county approval agency. And that gives you kind of the final authority and say over it. You'll dictate how some of that work goes. Once you file that notice of intent and do those steps, funding comes through you. Grant funding comes through the county then. You have to appoint a materials management planning committee.
that's what, 8?
They've changed it up a
11
little
or up. It's
bit.
gonna depend
Yeah.
on
11 or up.
county plan. Is it a, 3, 4 county plan? Are you doing it as one regional plan or individual plans? So there's a lot of factors there too.
I know at the last NEMCOG meeting, and Nico was there as well, that Jackie from, she's from Mount Ridge,
Oscoda.
Oscoda County. She had the discussion and she was, because we had talked about RRS, which is our MRF contractor for and triple MA for the authority. And so she wasn't quite sure which way that her county, what she wanted to do, make for a recommendation for her county, which way she wanted to go. We really, as a landfill authority, Bill, I think we need to get together and have this specific discussion so we can at least go with an authority type plan at a minimum, in my opinion, versus a single county or I don't know, regional would be, I guess that could be kind
You're gonna do
of.
that multi-county planning like that. Eagle would prefer that you're doing one plan like that.
Okay.
You got 3 or 4 counties in, they would prefer that one kind of regional plan.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but that's just their preference.
Although
but I
it's
think-
really weird the way they have talked about the multi-county plans, because it's like you do your own plan that's not dependent on the approval of the other county's plan, but it's still a joint plan and we still want you to plan jointly, but it's like jointly and severally. I'm,
They're trying to give you options,
Right.
whether it's every county has their own plan, but you've coordinated services and planning within doing your individual plans, or if is it one regional plan?
Right.
They want to help. They don't want to have to step in and write your plan for you. And you definitely want to avoid that.
Right, because if we don't do it, the state writes it for us. Yeah, Eagle does it for us.
Individual plan.
Yeah.
Stuck with it. But yeah, they're gonna help, that's the very last resort. They don't want to do that. So they're trying to put a lot of options out there of how can you do this? They're willing to step in and help. if need be.
so I guess it's a chicken and egg kind of a question, but I think where I'm struggling a little bit is like, does somebody get all the counties to commit to planning together first?
So
And
that's-
then we as a group figure out how we want to plan? Or is it better that we decide how we're going to plan and then whatever group we go with works on pulling other people into it?
My thought was, my kind of suggestion would be is you want to first establish each county as your individual county approval agency. You want to you as a county board want to have that final authority in the end, I'm assuming, unless you want to completely like turn it over to, you know, MCOG or the landfill authority or the MRF, you know, Michigan Materials Management, or that are options.
Okay.
But, I'm assuming each county probably wants that county approval agency authority. As part of that notice of intent process, you're gonna be required to send out basically like a letter to each county around you, or more if you want. You know, asking, do you want to engage in multi-county planning for this materials management process? And then they will respond. Those kind of letters get submitted as part of your notice of intent. When you check, yes, we are going to engage in multi-county planning and these are the counties we're going to do it with. That's what gives you that extra $10,000 per year incentive. $1,000 per year per county.
And then have you gotten any better sense from Eagle about when that money starts coming to us? Cause like, I'd love some planning money now so that I could hand this over to somebody and say, plan for me, please.
Depends how fast one gets through this notice of intent process. You have to go all the way through and submit the notice of intent. Once they've looked at that and accepted it, then that makes you eligible for the grant funds. Those funds will probably come relatively soon after that, but they did say you will be able to come back and reimburse yourself for any work,
Okay.
that does work for all of this notice of intent process.
Are the level, the government level the lowest level is it county, or do cities and municipalities also have to do this?
So it's done kind of like the county or regional level.
Okay. So like hypothetically, the city of Alpena doesn't have to do it, but Alpena County obviously does.
The city doesn't have to do plan.
Okay.
If the county were to choose not to be that county approval agency, after that 6 month, the city could step in and request an extension for this notice of intent period, and they could choose to be the final approval agency. If you did not want to.
If the county chose not to. Okay.
In terms of the city and all the townships, each have to have representation on the materials management planning commission. So you'll have to have, you know, a person from every jurisdiction, somebody representing a hauler, somebody representing a landfill, somebody representing like a recycling, you know, or alternative materials management besides landfill.
Right.
Somebody from the regional planning agency. So as far as who that will be, I don't know it.
With
That again depends on whether we're doing work. You know, if we're doing work for your plan, the person that's doing the work cannot be the person that sits on the committee. From NEMCOG is all going to depend on, again, a lot of these scenarios of who's doing what.
Yeah.
And it's all,
burning cats for Pete's sake.
so, you know, the part you got to get through right away is this notice of intent. Now, yes, we are going to do multi-county planning and we're going to coordinate with these counties. As far as who's doing what from there, once that grant funding starts to come in, you can really start to work on that. You know, you're going to want some level of an idea because you have to develop that work program for the designated planning agency. Again, currently that's NEMCOG. We're willing to be that again if you choose. It can go any elsewhere. There's several different agencies that will allow to be your designated planning agency. You have to develop as the county approval agency that work program that specifies how, in this case, let's say you're using NEMCOG, how we're going to develop your materials management plan, how we would work through that process.
So basically, we need a guideline to get this started.
Well, that's it. And so that's part of it is, you know, engaging. Because I will tell you right now, I certainly don't have the capacity. I don't think we at the county have the capacity to do this planning ourselves. I think, and because there is money, that gives us a little bit of comfort, right? That if when we hire somebody to do this, there are funds to pay that group to do this. My feeling is we need to decide on the group that is going to do the planning for us sooner rather than later, so that they can help us through the notice of intent process as well as then the actual planning process. And because, you know, we can go back and reimburse ourselves, then we can pay for that work as well.
And there are, right now, if I understand it correctly, we have basically, there are two bodies, I guess, or organizations. NMMA could be, because it meets the, you know, within Alpena County, all of the municipal, the city and the other townships, as well as the county. Or we have the authority, the landfill authority, which represents at least three different counties.
Three different counties.
So, I mean, we kind of have,
But it depends on what aspect you intend to use them as. So they can, if you, as a county board, choose not to be that county approval agency, they could step in and be that, but then they can't be the designated planning agency.
right,
If you choose to be that county approval agency, they could be the designated planning agency. NEMCOG could, the city could.
right. I'm just thinking of the committee that you talked about at first, as to how, you know, what's going to, how are we going to develop this committee that's going to look at NEMCOG or RRS or someone else? And, you know, what does that committee look like, the initial one?
Yeah, a lot of it, when we did, was it a year ago? NEMCOG got the grant to do that materials management community engagement process. That's where we got kind of already established that, yes, you intend to work with at least the minimum of those three counties. IOSCO may want to join on, working through that process. Through that, you identified, at that time it was just the recycling board, not the authority yet, as kind of your planning committee for that. You can continue to use them because it now represents all of the townships, right? Everyone has a representative on it, so,
Mhm.
You could designate them. You have to officially appoint each member. You can't just say, they're our planning committee now.
But we do have an NMMA meeting, what, Thursday or
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Of course, the following Friday, we have the
Oh,
MOA. So within the next couple of weeks, we have opportunity for discussion.
I have to think the notice of intent would be out anytime.
Okay.
I know this is one of those things that's kind of been like hanging out there. I've just kind of like been waiting for it to drop and it hasn't
Yeah.
dropped. And so it's allowed me to like be like, okay, so that goes down at the bottom of my list.
If you ignore it, maybe it'll go away.
The same day, it's been, all right, wait for it. I've had some people email and ask what's going on. And it's like, well, waiting on Eagle, like I don't want to start a bunch of stuff because I've done this long enough. I've been in there when we started a bunch of stuff because Eagle or MDOT or somebody said, this is how we want it. And then you do it and they go, oh, you know what? We really want it like this. And you throw it all away and start over.
Right.
Okay, well, that's helpful. So.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys have any other questions for Nico on this?
And Nico, when's the next NEMCOG meeting is 25th, like that,
The next NEMCOG board meeting, I guess, would be
in November, right?
yeah.
Because it's just this,
We don't usually do one in November. No.
okay, so maybe December then. Yeah.
There is the annual meeting, which I think we were doing a small board meeting before it.
Okay, yeah,
It's Friday.
right. And unfortunately, I'm the rep and we're in the middle of our budget planning work session, so we will all be here. So I sent Teresa a note that we wouldn't be represented at that one. So December is really the next time.
Your budget workshop at Yep, prime rib dinner.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to ask for permission to not get the budget workshop if prime ribs involved.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions for Nico?
we're better, get this out of the way, move forward.
Yeah, we're really waiting for that notice of intent to come out. And they,
It forces everyone's hand.
final, this is what they,
Yeah.
steps they want you to go through. Like I said, there's no sense wasting time and money going through steps that they're gonna end up not considering valid anyways, or change their mind on, so.
Okay. Any other questions? Discussion? Okay. Nico, thank you for taking the time to be here this morning. It's been very helpful. And obviously we'll make a decision sometime in the near future. So we appreciate it very much. Okay. Next on the agenda is the Fairground Manager Monthly Report. Patrick.
Good idea. Alrighty, so for September, not much actually happened. Merchants Building was rented though pretty much almost the whole entire month for a movie shoot that was happening and they're storing Model T cars in, which is pretty cool to see all those. County truck was fixed, but obviously we know that. Thank you very much. Other than that, I mean, right now we're getting the park closed, winter storage is kicking off to the point where I'm working like 16 hours a day, so I'm also off work right now because I injured my back and I'm on steroids and plus a relaxer. So I'm slowing down a little bit, but just in the process of getting the park cleaned up for the after season, so. Any questions?
The camping's done now.
Yes, we closed Sunday, so. Getting tables pretty much this week, and I think I got like 5 tables still left to do, but obviously with my back like it is, it's gonna be maybe this week, and I'm hoping I can get the rest of them done. Fire pits, get those done. I had a couple still hot this weekend, so I didn't want to touch them. I don't want to, obviously don't want to start a fire.
Right.
And then just go through, pick up what garbage I can find out laying around and get things closed down for the season. Help Wes with what I can help him with anyway. So.
So the occupancy report attached is something that I was working with all of our park managers to put together. It's helpful for us in terms of thinking about, what is our revenue and what is our revenue potential? Because you can see the percentage of occupancy for the sites, and then you can see the total occupancy percentage. So obviously, factor out a couple of things like we've got grandstands in here and stuff, which is pulling your percentage down. But if you look overall at the sites, we have a lot of growth potential here, and Patrick did an amazing job in terms of revenue this year. There's nothing but upside for us in terms of camping. Some of those sites are only booked out, 5, 10, 15%. So then it's thinking about why are those particular sites not being rented out? And Patrick could probably tell us, Wes could probably tell us, right? Just based on their knowledge of having been at the site. This one's a little low, this one's wet, this one's in weird shape. And so,
I'm sorry to cut you off. There's some that you cannot even get an RV in, like, I think it's 40 and 39. You can't, there's no way you're getting a camper.
Pop-up camper,
A pop-up
tent
or-
or something like that, but they're small.
So that's one thing and then it becomes low hanging fruit. Okay, if we know that this site is only getting booked out 15% and we know it's because it's wet, now that's an easy thing to fix, or at least to address, to think about how do we address that so that we address that, and then it becomes a site that we book out at 50% or 60% instead of 15%. The other thing that's nice about our new camp spot system is that all of these sizes of the sites will be entered into camp spot. So somebody will know when they go on the system that that particular site only fits a pop-up camper. And they're not going to try to book it for a big, 5th wheel with 2 pop-outs and then get to the site and be like,
We ain't fitting.
this isn't gonna work. So I think it's a very helpful report to have and to give both ourselves, the manager, good metrics to measure against, and then something for the board to be able to say, all right, our goal was to move from, I think this says 20% to 40%. Did we make it?
So at the fairgrounds, there are 85 camping sites there and
Only 69, the 85. So back when fair was happening, I got it approved to get 16 additional sites.
Temporary
Temporary
sites.
sites
those are temporary.
for the fair week, which turned out amazing. We actually, I think it cost us, if I remember right, like $400 to get it done. And that was going out and buying some supplies to fence off the area because that's what they wanted. And I want to say we brought in like $1,200 to $1,500 just in those sites alone. So, I mean, they paid for themselves and obviously made us some money too.
Yeah.
It's just something that I actually got talked to by quite a few 4-H families, and sounds like I'm gonna have even more families camping next year, and they want to just go out there. So it's kind of something that I've just left in the computer because I kind of am planning to do it next year too. But I mean, if I look at it as we got half the supplies already that we need, we may have to go out and buy another roll or two of the snow fence, but after that, I mean, you're talking what, maybe $100, and if we make $2,000 on it, it's all money in our pockets.
Right.
So that's something I left on there for a reason, just as temporary lots. I think I actually have them labeled as they're labeled as rustic, but temporary. Which they are rustic. So there's only 69 lots, and out of the 69, I would say 60 of them, no, 65 of them are probably easy to get onto. I mean, just going off the top of my head. 40, 39, 37, you got tree issues and a power box issue. I guess there might be only 66 of them that are.
One in the back that floods.
Oh yeah, 66, the one in the back that floods. I had like, either we put drain tile in. I thought about drain tiling from the lot to the racetrack. Just that way just go under the road and it can drain into the racetrack, but that was something I came up with the other day when it was flooded back there and I was back there. So.
Okay. Any questions for Patrick? Fairground operations?
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. We appreciate your efforts. Well, we all hope you feel better soon.
I don't know what I did, but I tell you what, when I was looking at 7 games at work yesterday, I'm not proud.
So you don't know what you did, but you did it well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Geez, feel better soon. Okay, the next item on our agenda are the recycling reports. And anyone going to present those, or we just,
Receive and file unless anyone has any questions.
okay? Any questions from the committee members here on?
I just have one question. So the reports that you have in your packet here are just the reports that come from our system, which is to say, pulling in the recycling surcharge and then sending it back out again to NEMA, right? So we, the County of Alpena, are members of NEMA. You have representatives on those boards. I have not been including NEMA's financials, but we can, if you guys would like to see those. Obviously, your representative sees them and can report on them, but if you guys would like me to include them here, I can do that as well.
If it's not too much trouble, I think that would be a good idea, especially right now with the cash flow concerns. Although those have been remedied, but I think it's just good for at least this committee to have that information.
I agree.
Okay. I will start including those.
Thank you very much for that. So look for a motion to receive and file the recycling fund reports. I have motion from Commissioner Peterson. Do I have support? I'll support it. Support from Commissioner LaHaye to receive and file the recycling reports. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion is carried and we will file the monthly recycling reports, and in the future we'll get the NEMA reports as well. Thank you, Mary Catherine. So the next November meeting date tentatively is scheduled for November 15th.
Travis will probably call you to do it.
Travis won't get my phone number. Again, it's probably a state holiday, close to that. Schools even closed.
I ain't even calling from the beer blind.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I think the recommendation may be to look for an alternate date. Even though I'm not on there.
Look here and see what we got.
And you could move it up to the 8th, so the week prior, you could move it a week later, or you could shift it in that same week. So you could move it to the 14th, for example.
That's almost as
I
bad.
had it on the 22nd, my calendar. For some reason.
We might have talked about, well, the 22nd is a land bank authority meeting
Okay.
at 9. But we could do this meeting right after the land bank authority meeting if you wanted to do it on the 22nd.
I got a land bank. I think I got budget that week, that day. Let me check here. I had facilities. Where do I have facilities here? Okay, just move it after.
Yep, we could do it on the 22nd, starting at 10, because the land bank authority right now is scheduled from 9 until 10.
Yeah, we have landfill at Bert at the 22nd at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we can probably fit that in.
Yeah.
Be efficient.
I already got that down. That's the 22nd
For what? Priscilla?
for facilities.
Yeah, I already had it down there.
Well, apparently then as a joint collective, everyone decided to move it to the 22nd. 22nd it is.
So it's 10
Fun.
o'clock then,
10
right?
o'clock.
At 10 o'clock.
Okay. With that bit of business out of the way, I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Motion from Commissioner LaHaye to adjourn.
I support.
I have support from Commissioner Forney. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion is carried and we are adjourned. Thank you. And Nico, thanks very much for being here today.